Welcome to the Fit to Talk podcast.
You just found the #1 health and fitness podcast for performers, and you're listening to a guest episode during which we discuss the realities of a career in the performing arts with people who are fit to talk about them.
Yes, and if you like what we do, please leave us a review, preferably 5 stars, or on Spotify, click that follow button.
And also, if you like our meaningful, helpful, and accurate information, then you may want to be coached by us. If so, then Fit to Perform may be for you.
Yeah, you can find out more information over on Instagram or on our website.
Go. But moving on, we've got an incredible guest for you today.
Is there a reason why you said go?
Joe,
because today's guest has previously been on Joseph with me.
Yes!
We did the tour of Joseph together. He's also been in Wizard of Oz at the Palladium.
We didn't even talk about that.
We didn't even talk about that. But yeah, he's done Wizard of Oz at the Palladium, did Cats, Hip Hop Cats, which we did talk about.
Yeah, his second job with you, yeah.
His second job with me. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yes.
Shrek. Didn't even talk about Shrek.
I saw him in Shrek. I didn't even talk about that. Sam, if you're listening to this, which I'm hoping you are,
You
I'm
would
sorry.
hope so.
I saw you in Shrek and you were fabulous.
There we go. Well, yeah. Very, very talented guy. Incredibly talented.
Fantastic trainer of dogs.
Yes. Oh, Mabel. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Mabel is a fantastic dog.
The most well-behaved hound ever in the
Hound.
world. Anyway, please enjoy the seriously suave Sam Stones.
Oh.
It's fit to talk.
Mabel comes with me.
Oh,
she,
dreamy.
She sits on the sofa, chills out, and I check a few people in, roll a few towels, and it's pretty easy.
Job done. That's the difficult thing, isn't it? If you've got a dog, then it's literally like when you go to work, like what do you do? So finding a job that you can...
I only look for jobs now that I can take her.
Really?
I'm like, the whole reason I got her was to have her with me. So I'm like, I'll just find a job that I can have her with. And actually, I'm doing my own job now that I do take her everywhere.
And what is that?
Well, I do dog training and like dog walking and all of that business. So she's the perfect companion. And so I called the little business the Mabel way. That's why. So teach other dogs how Mabel does it. Yeah.
I mean, fair, because she's the most well-behaved dog I think I've ever.
She's incredible. On tour, she was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
I've never met another dog like her.
She's not bothered by anything. It's
You've
great.
done such an incredible job raising her. Yeah.
How much of that is down to how a dog is trained?
All of it.
Right.
All of it. Like from the get-go, you can get that drilled into them from very young, and then obviously they have their personalities and whatnot, but just in terms of general behavior, it's all about just drilling that in from a young pup.
And so does that differ with breed and stuff? Sorry, I'm really
Oh yeah, 100%. It's actually really difficult. She's a crazy breed. Spaniels are notoriously
nuts. It's high
lunatics.
Energy and nuts,
yeah, they're lunatics. And she has her moments. It's about understanding. For me, I did the research before I got her. I was like, I need to know. I want a dog that can keep up with me because I've got such a busy life. I'm constantly going. That I was like, I can't get a lazy dog that doesn't want to keep up. As soon as we leave the house at 6 a.m, can't keep going until 10 o'clock at night, say if I'm getting home or whatever. So I was like, I did my research and I was like, okay, Spaniel's the one for me. Because they've got these, they just go.
The battery life.
They're on and off. They have two modes. They're going or they're dead. They're literally passed out. It's usually the case. So I got quite lucky with Mabel. I did drill in. I think I've from a young age, I just took her everywhere and just got her so socialized that everything just became, okay, this is when I sit down.
Okay, yeah.
Dad's doing that, I'll sit down, sort of thing. And that's why it's just worked so well. And she's been on 3 or 4 tours now and comes to work in the gym. People in the gym now, they see me and they're like, well, where's the Mabel? And I'm like, not here today. And they're like, well, you're useless. Why?
Well, we didn't want to see you.
Yeah, literally, there's so many people, they're just like, oh, well, okay. that's disappointing. I'm like, thank you. Made me really feel great there.
Perfect.
I'm glad my presence disappoints you.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic. Like, so you make that decision, right? Like, as a performer, it's a tricky call to make, right? Getting a dog. So has that affected you, do you think, in deciding on acting work too? Or has it just not been an issue?
Up till now, it's not been an issue at all. I'm sure at some point it might be an issue. I've been very fortunate that like the tours and the theatres that I've been in, I've been able to take her. And I haven't come across, I know there are a few theatres now that are like not dog friendly and stuff. And if I was to get a job in one of those theatres, I'd probably try and have a conversation with the theatre manager because I'm like, look, this is my dog. She's been in pretty much every theatre in the UK. Like, because like even my friends, like if I have a friend look after her that are in shows, she's been in theatres in the West End that I've not even been in.
Yeah.
And like performed on. I'm like, okay, right. need to sort this out.
Stagier than you. Like,
Yeah.
You're like, Mabel, can you get me an into this theatre?
Literally. So no, I've been quite fortunate so far. It hasn't affected me too much. The only time I did struggle was when we went to Canada. I went to Canada with Joseph, and that was for 3 months. And I contemplated taking her out, but it was going to cost me £3,000 to get her there and back. And I just kind of thought, because it was only 3 months, I was like, by the time she's gotten over the trauma of the flight there, I'll be putting her back in a crate to come back. And like there was just no point. So fortunately, I've got family and friends that can help when I need it, basically. And so my parents had her for 3 months.
And thankfully, you've trained her well, so she's super well behaved.
Well, when I came back, she wasn't as well behaved. I had to drill a few things. Like, she suddenly learned how to beg. And I was like, I literally turned, I was like, Dad, what have you done? Because I know it'd be my dad as well. Like, she follows him everywhere. Like, as soon as he sits down for dinner, she's there. Like, I'm like, what
So
you
is
done?
that just because he was giving her food from the table?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
So realistically, with stuff like that, if you do it once, like a human being, they're going to learn, right?
Oh, they'll go, okay, I was allowed to do it then.
Right.
Yeah.
So it might happen again.
Yeah.
I see.
Dogs are simple.
I'm going to make
so
Maddie
simple.
listen to this. Because I'm like, you've met Maddie, Martin. She desperately wants us to get a dog and has wanted one for ages. We're not allowed one in our current flat. But that's its ongoing thing. And they have a family dog at home, and he is always begging for food at the table.
Yeah, it's about drilling that. Like, she never did it up until that point because I'd never let her sit next to me whilst I ate. She had to go to her bed or place or wherever I like wanted her. So then eventually you sitting down with food doesn't become a thing. Like, it doesn't excite her because she knows she's not going to get anything. Whereas when I got back from Canada, I was like, oh, someone's been feeding you at the table. Like, literally, she'd be like there, like, your plate's here, and she's like, nose is sniffing it. Like, you're like,
Dad! Thank you for the free dog care, but also Dad!
Literally.
So back on topic, I suppose, which is all part of it. But where does the story of Sam Stone's big? Oh, actually, before that.
Yes.
Before that, liar.
Very close.
Okay, so it's one thing we do through the podcast is that we ask all our guests to try and slip in a little lie into the recording. So at any point in the next however long we record for, would you be willing to try and tell us a lie?
Sure.
And at the end, we will guess whether we think you've lied.
We'll try.
And what we think it is, and we ask the listeners to do the same thing.
Okay.
So it will be revealed.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay.
It's not like a mystery and they'll never know. So willing?
Yeah.
And we'll find out if you're able.
Here we go.
So on that, back to the question, how does the story of Sam's life start?
Starts in Leicester. I'm a Leicester boy. Kind of just an all like adventure sports sort of kid. Like, my parents, like I wasn't like one of these computer game kids sort of thing. Like, I barely know how to play a PlayStation. Like, I just spent my life outdoors, like always. Like, any club, any sport, I've probably done it. Like, my parents just were like, cool, do you want to try that? Yeah, why not? Go on then. So, like, the amount of different things that I've done, like, growing up was just how I, like, always spent my time. So I'd, like, be at kayaking club, I'd be at swimming, I'd be at running. And then I kind of got to, it was about 12. I think I was about 12 is when I kind of started looking into like acting and performing, and that's when that started to really like start really, because my sister's a few years younger than me, and she used to get to go to festivals. She used to go to like dance festivals and all of that sort of stuff. And I used to get dragged a lot. Like I was a football kid through and through, like playing, like that's what, like growing up, I was like, I want to be an Olympic athlete and I want to play football. They were my things. I was like,
Small goals.
yeah, small goals. I was like, Olympic athlete, want to play football. And then at 12 years old, I was at this dance festival with my family, and I'd been dragged there. My sister was competing, and like they had all age groups. And then I was like watching this stage, and I was just like, tap's pretty cool, isn't it? I was like, that's pretty cool.
It's not people's usual entry in, is it? Tap?
Yeah, I was just like, well, because
No,
like
true.
the school, so the dance school I went to, DuPont in Leicester, amazing school, had loads of boys, and it was really rare, like for a dance school, like you saw all these other schools at competitions, like just didn't have, or they maybe had one, and it was like, cool, they're good. But then this school in Leicester just had loads of boys, always has. Like, I think even now they've got a decent amount of boys, but then, so I was just like, there's a lot of boys doing that. And like, I was like, tap's pretty cool. I liked it. And I was with one of the other boys. So one of the other boys who was like a brother of one of the dancers there as well. Like we were mates, but he was much more of like a rugby lad. Like we were chatting, we were both like, yeah, tap's cool. Why don't we start tap? That'd be fun. Cut to a month later, I've started, and he's gone, nah, it's not that. I was like, what? He left me on my own. Like,
He's done you in there.
he fully did me in. So, but hey, it worked out for the better. I then started, so I did that, and then kind of maybe about a year, 6 months to a year in, the teachers there were just like, cool, you can't just do tap anymore. You have to do more. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, doing the typical boy thing. I was like, well, I'm not doing ballet. I don't want to wear tights. Like, why do I want to wear tights? And so then I was like, okay, I'll start modern. I'll do modern, fine. And then a few months later, okay, you can't do just those two. Basically, they're driving me to do ballet. And I was like, cool, I'll start national. So I started national dance. Like,
What even is that?
it's like all the national dances of each country. So like
okay.
Bulgarian dance, like Hungarian, Macedonian, all these
You
different.
really didn't want to do ballet.
To start with, yeah. I was
Like at that point.
no, I'll avoid it. And then eventually they're like, okay, you have to do ballet. It's like, they literally just got to the point. They're
You're
like,
like,
you
I
need to
see
do-
what you've done
I was
here.
like, right, okay. And I was, okay, I'll do it. Like, I was like, chat to my parents. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do ballet. And my dad was like, you'll have to wear tights. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know, who cares? And then that's kind of where, like, I then just started doing more and more and more. And they were like, cool, you can do competitions as well. And you can do this. And I was in that fine balance of like, okay, what, like, how serious am I taking this now? Like, I was getting to like 15, 16, like GCSE age, you know, and you have to start thinking about, okay, what am I thinking for later? Like, do I do my A-levels or do I go off to college at 16, or do I try and, what am I doing? Am I performing? Do I want to do a sport? Because at the time as well, I was a champion 800 meter runner for Leicester. And I was doing that all the time. And then I was really into my skiing. And like, there was just so many different sports. And I was like, and then I still wanted to be a footballer, but it's always that thing of you're nowhere near as good as you actually think you are. And I was like, you know, at what point do you give up that dream? At 16, you're like,
Never.
exactly. Still going to make it now. Still could play
So
for
close.
Leicester.
This time.
My retirement age is soon, but I can still make it. So then I was just like, okay, doing these competitions. And I had no idea about like drama schools and that sort of thing. And that like had never actually crossed my mind till I was about 6. I was doing drama at school, but I didn't actually really know that like drama schools, like the colleges around, existed. I was like, because from my dance school, not many people had, like, at the time, really ventured into like musical theatre. It was all like contemporary dance and that sort of like side of it. So a lot more of the older lot that had been like before me had gone that route. So actual like musical theatre drama colleges wasn't really on my radar at all until I was about 16. And then a group of us from my dance school, we won a competition for an Easter school at Arts Ed. So then we went and did this whole week, like Easter school, lived down in London, did classes every day. And then that was kind of where I went, this place is pretty cool, isn't it? Like, everyone's just singing and dancing all the time. It's pretty laid back, pretty fun.
We could do this all day, every day.
This seems great.
Yeah, literally. Like at school, I'm not an academic person. Never was an academic person. I was always like sport. Anything practical, I was like acing. Anything theory, I was like, I can't be bothered. Like it was the same like the whole way through school. I think my parents at one point just gave up on me revising for anything because they were just like, it's not like he's not gonna do it. It'd be like he's not gonna do it. It's like the day before the exam, I'd be like, oh, okay, blow the dust off this book. Let's have a look. Right, what are we doing? Cool. Like copy a bit of text down. And so it was always like, I think deep down, I was always going to start going towards something practical. Like I'm going to do something physical. Like it has to be a sport or something like dancing or performing and that. So I did this Easter school and I was just like, cool, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun. But then I was like, no, I'm going to stay and do my academic bit, try and get through it. So I went, did my A-levels, scraped through my A-levels, apart from PE. I was like, PE's got my A-level in PE, fantastic. Like, and that, like the biology about the body all made sense to me because everything, like my body-wise, just made sense. Like, because of the practicality and doing sports and all of that stuff. I was like, yeah, that all makes sense. And then did them. And then kind of in year 13, that's when obviously everyone's doing their uni applications, drama school things. And still to that point, I was like, okay, I know 2 colleges and they were Bird and Arts Ed. And Bird because a few people before me had all gone to Bird. And a lot of my people that were going from my dance school were going there. And I was like, that's a very dance-heavy college. And I knew, like, my teachers were like, oh, you should look at contemporary schools like Laban and places. And I just knew that I wanted to act and sing as well as dance. And then so I had Arts Ed in my head and I was just like, right, okay, like, cool, that's a good college. I didn't know the, like, level of what it was as well and, like, how many they churn out into the industry. I was just like, that was a cool college. Yeah, I like that. Let's apply there. And then I spoke to a friend who actually at the time had just got into Wicked and was in rehearsals for the original of Wicked. And I said to him, I was like, what's the school to go to? Like, where should I be applying? And he was like, oh, Arts Ed's the one at the time. He was like, they're churning out a lot of good people at this time. And so then I was just like, okay. And then fortunately I got in. And I was like, tried to a few colleges. I made sure I applied elsewhere, and I was just like, let's go see other establishments and see what I think and how I feel. And then, like everyone I went to, I was just like, this is nice, but prefer there. I was like, I felt that, like, and maybe it was because of the experience I had there before, and maybe it was just because of the building. I think I just loved the fact that it was one building, everything was in one place, and so then that is kind of that up to college really. And then I was like, yeah, I was very in limbo at the time because I didn't get a dada to go. So like me and my family, I was very fortunate. They took a bit of time to like consider whether they could afford it for me. Got all the usual student loans and stuff, but that doesn't even touch the sides of it. Like, and so it like came to like the very last minute, like whether I was actually going to go. So I kind of had backup plans of thinking about what maybe I could do next, and had like a backup list of like contemplating whether I could go to Canada and be a ski instructor was really on my radar as well. And I was like, that was like, okay, if this doesn't work, that's where I might probably go. That's what I might look at doing, going out to like some amazing resort and just learn to be a ski instructor and live that life sort of thing. But I was very fortunate. My parents like at the end were like, no, we can do it. We can afford it. Very fortunate. And yeah, and then went off to Arts Ed, and then 3 years training, and 10 years later, still going, still trying to go, still trying to plug at it and do it, you know.
The keys are still in the ignition. We'll have that.
Yeah, cogs are still turning.
Jumping back, because almost everyone I know that's from Leicester is very passionate about the fact that they're from Leicester. Would you fit into that group?
I'm very proud that I'm from Leicester, For 100%, yeah. It's not the most exciting place, but I'd still like, if someone says, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Leicester." And they're like, "Oh, you're northern then?" I'm like, "No. No. I'm not northern,
Firmly
not southern.
Midlands. Yeah.
I'm a Midlands.
Yeah.
Midlander."
Do you know what I mean about Leicester? That like it feels to have that thing. Like there's a lot of places that people might describe, or if people usually say it's not that interesting a place, that people tend to be like, "Oh, I'm just from here." But Leicester, people are like, "I'm really proud of being from."
Yeah, I think you're right. People are really proud of being from Leicester, and
There's a lot of good things that have come from Leicester. You know, there is a lot of history there and stuff, which is good. We've got King Richard in the car park.
Oh yeah, that's about as Leicester as it gets.
Yeah, that's it. We've got the football team. You know.
Well, now,
yeah.
now that's. I'm assuming, as the football fan that you were growing up, that you're a Leicester City.
Yeah, through and
supporter.
through. Granddad was, my dad was, my brothers are. So
that would have been a
always.
rough childhood and a fantastic last 10
Yeah,
years.
it's been a yo-yo of being a fan for sure. 100%.
Not bad now.
No, doing all right.
yeah, doing all right this
Still
year
pretty
as well.
happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, compared to when you were
can't
growing up.
complain.
Right? Well, they came out of the blue, didn't they? Do
Yeah.
you remember that?
Oh, what? I thought you were making a joke about coming
About
out
the
of the
fact
blue.
they're blue.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't.
I couldn't tell.
That's where you should
Yeah,
be.
I
You
was
should
like-
be in that level of constant fear. That was a dad joke, excuse me. Yes. Yeah, but okay. So you're a massive sports fan in that instance. You're a massive Leicester City FC fan. Let's talk about that moment, because from a sporting history point of view, like no team has sort of rapidly catapulted to that level of success in recent living memory, perhaps of at least 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, and they go from where they were to winning
Yeah.
the Premier League. Like, what the
So
hell?
on the cusp of down, and then the next season we won it. Like, honestly, it was me and my dad cried on the phone. Like when it happened, I remember exactly where I was when it happened, and like me and my dad were just bawling our eyes out on the phone. We were like, we couldn't believe it. Like, and like my granddad as well, the fact that he got to see that before he passed, and it like was incredible. Like, because his whole life he's watched them, and he's like, I think he was about 90 at the time when it happened, and it was just like, obviously it was something that people his generation never thought they'd ever get a chance to see anything like that, just for a little club like Leicester. So yeah, it was phenomenal. Right.
And how did that happen? Like, in your opinion, like how the hell did that come about? What was the like magic factor that took that? Because they didn't have, a lot of teams who suddenly catapult up that field tend to have massive investment from outside source that suddenly buys players that are worth.
I think
millions.
it was the team, the bond in the team. Like, it was just, you could see that they were just a solid unit of like mates that just like you couldn't break them. I think, and like what they'd been through, the seasons coming up, almost going down, surviving that. I think that just kind of made them so strong, that they've been through so much that they were just like any team just started to fear them, because it was just like you couldn't break us like mentally. So then they just plowed on, and it just then kept on going. And it was like one of those things we were just watching, like, when are we gonna fall off? What's gonna happen? But you just like, it never happened. That didn't happen. And then we got they won it, and it was just.
I really I love that. I think there's a lesson to take away there from that for your own life, right? Or for our lives, that you're like, when you build a company, when you join a company, you go, well, if we can. And I'm sure, actually, looking at sports teams, we've all the three of us done jobs that have resembled perhaps that one, that team, and perhaps more fractious teams and less positive experiences. And actually, if you could work out what managed to cultivate that atmosphere, then you can make sure that you're only ever in groups that want to behave
just
that
going to
way.
drive forward.
But you also did something wonderful there that I love when people talk about their sports teams, that you'll say us. Or that we managed to do this, or that they got us. And why is that? Why is that? Because it's always been bizarre to me ever since I was a kid. I've never asked anyone.
I think it's, I don't know, I guess it's like almost a sense of community, that sort of thing. Like, I read once somewhere that they're like, one of the best things to have, like, say, if you live away or if you ever get homesick, is that somewhere in the world you've got that community, being that fan of something, you'll always find other people that are the fans of something, and it gives you that sense of community, so then you feel a part of something. And I think it is just you live and breathe it. Like you're just there, you watch it, because players obviously come and go, but the team stays as the team. And so you just invest so much love and passion into it, especially when you love the sport as well. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
yeah, I love that.
The excitement of it.
There's still time. If you want a career change.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Vardy's still doing it at 37, so
Yeah, he's
got a few
form.
years to go.
Yeah, no, he's really going downhill now at 37. Isn't he?
Yeah, shh.
He's fine. We should tell you two work together.
We worked together twice.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We were going to do
Twice.
this. You said the other, what was it?
We did the wonderful Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And
did.
then...
UK tour, right?
yes, the UK tour.
Yeah.
And then we did Hip Hop Cats.
Hip Hop Cats.
And let's be clear, it was actually Cats.
It was Cats.
It was Cats the musical in Cyprus.
But it was a rare version that was not the normal choreography.
Nope.
Yeah.
Different choreography, which Bobby has mentioned this so many times, right? Sam, can you describe this contract? Because you played Gimbal Shanks.
Gimbal Shanks. Yeah. It was incredible. Like, the whole experience of it was incredible. Like, we spent so long learning this show to then only do about a week. Was it a week of shows?
Yeah.
It was so much, and they built all this set, and like it was nice to be part of something that was like new ideas being thrown at something. But there was a moment in rehearsals, I remember there was me, Bobby, and a guy called Jeremy. We was just stood at the back, and the choreographers are the most incredible dancers, and they brought in their daughter one day, who's again like just like them, a phenomenal dancer, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to have a b-boy workshop with the daughter." And me, Bobby, and Jeremy just looked at each other like, "What?"
That's not my skill set.
I signed on to Skimble Shanks. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's do some handstands spinning down onto our elbows to drop onto the floor. I was like, right, that's where this is going. Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where hip hop cats kind of came from. Like,
yeah, that was us workshopping the movement of a cat. And I did not look good.
there was a fantastic moment with
Oh, yeah.
he's McCavity over here, fantastic moment, turns around, like gives a big old roar, and his whole wig has come off, and he's just there in a bold wig cap on stage roaring at us like all in his McCavity makeup.
I look like Dragon Ball Z
Honestly,
McCavity.
It was I was gone. I was in stitches. I was
wild.
gone. Like I was in the wing, like hiding my face, like fully, like no, can't. Like I'd sweeped his wig off the floor from the floor because he was gone, just running around in his wig cap. Like it was
I'm leaping around like
fantastic.
an absolute bellend. Like it's because Vicky had to take off two of my wigs at the same time. I had a wig on a wig.
Wigs on wigs on wigs.
Wigs on wigs, and she grabbed it and took both wigs
both
with it.
things.
So yeah, my lovely bald head whilst running around as McCavity.
That's
Probably
epic.
one of my favourite.
God.
Also running around as hip hop McCavity.
I mean, hip hop McCavity. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should change those on your CVs to like hip hop Gimbal Shanks and hip hop McCavity.
Yeah, I think it deserves it.
And people would be confused, but they would get you in just to ask the question.
They'd be like, so what was Hip
What's-
Hop Cats?
What is this
that?
hip hop cats? But it's one of those shows that will always live with me. Like just the memory of this
see
week.
what you did there.
Yeah, you like that. Just the memory of this 1 week we spent in Cyprus doing the most insane job.
Yeah.
I did dig out a video of it the other day.
Did you?
And I was like, oh, this is sketchy.
Something.
Sketchy as hell.
It was an experience.
It was fun. We had
It
such
was
a
fun.
good group on it,
Yeah, we
actually.
had a
And I
great
think that
group.
just made it, like, we had such a good group of guys and girls on it that it was just like, everyone just had a laugh.
Leicester City.
Yeah, like if you, exactly. If you'd gone into it and approached it with the wrong attitude, it could have been a horrific job.
Yeah.
But I think you're right because we had such a great group of people and we all approached it with the right fun attitude.
Yeah,
Like we
it's
just
like,
it was just
What was
great.
the audition process for that? Did they audition you with like traditional Cats material? Then when you got there, they went, by the way, we're going to change this. Or was that a swerve? Like, did you know what you were expecting?
I don't remember.
I don't think I danced. I think I just sang.
I
Sorry,
don't remember dancing.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I danced for it. maybe. But so Sam and Alexia, who were the choreographers, they taught me at college.
So they knew you.
And Grant, who was the director, taught me tap at college. And I'd just come off the back of like a big dance show, I think maybe. Yeah.
So they kind of knew. Did you dance?
I cannot remember. I
do you
barely
mean?
remember
Yeah.
what happened yesterday. So
I can't. I remember singing because I remember that Anthony, the MD, like just going so meticulously in detail and like giving me so much material, and I was just like, I just want to play Skimble Shakes. I don't want to do it. Like,
Don't make me do it spinning on
Yeah.
my head. No.
literally.
So then, obviously, just jumping to the Joseph tour,
Mhm.
what was that like?
It was fun.
We'll cut anything you say that's offensive. No, I'm kidding.
It happened.
It was. It's
it did happen.
obviously, obviously, I did it in the chunk before you.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm aware as to how high energy and how demanding that whole process was. Doing that on tour around the UK sounds exhausting.
It was hard. Like, it was tough. And it was one of those, like, anyone who asks me now, I'm like, what was it like? I'm like, imagine doing 2 45 hit workouts back to back. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, for the boys, it was like, once you're on stage, as you know, like, it's go.
Yeah, you're
You go.
sprinting.
It's a hit workout until the interval, and then you're back on. Same for act 2, like, in that sense. So it was hard in that, but you just, like, you build the stamina up for it. And I've toured so much that I kind of know how to sustain myself on that level. Like, when I'm traveling around, I know what my body needs or what mentally I need to do to get through work. And I think that is a big part of it when you're on tour. It's the mental side of doing it can be just as hard as the physical, especially when you're with people like that can be a bit difficult. Like, not everyone in the company was getting on, so it's not always the nicest environment to go into the building. So it was like, okay, mentally building up strength to just like get through everything and like make it a decent time as much as you possibly can.
I love that. So you mentioned like, you know what to do, because I think we've said similarly, like usually you learn the hard way, right? You go, oh, actually, by making the mistakes, you go, oh, I know what I need now. What are the things that you do then in order to look after yourself in that mental sense and to maintain that, and also the physical side of things?
Mentally, I very much have to have time on my own. Like, walking for me is so therapeutic. I'm like, I get out, I turn, like, even if I'm just with my dog or without a dog, I'll like get to a park and just turn everything off. And like whenever I'm on a dog walk now and stuff, I do it where I'm like, okay, if I'm on a walk and I'm with my dog, my phone's away. I like can't, like, I'll shut off for 45 minutes to an hour and just have that peace, or I just stop, or like, depending on where I am, I'll try and find somewhere where there's water. Like, I like for me, like, if I'm near the ocean, it just instantly calms me. And that, like, so I'll, in certain venues, like, okay, cool, I'm off. And like, people are like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm just going for a walk. Just need that, like, time in between, the rest, like, in between shows. I'm very much like a granddad. I'll like go out, food, unless I've got people in, I'm back down under my desk, fast asleep. Headphones in, I'm like, I'm out. Don't talk to me.
Sounds
And
familiar.
like,
Memories.
And I'm like, I literally say to people, I'm like, wake me up at the 5. That's wake me up at the 5 when the show's, or when beginners has been called, and then I'll be ready. Like, I'm one of those people that can just, like, I'll get ready like so quickly. I don't need to sit in my costume for 45 minutes to get in the zone. I'm like, I can get ready in 5 minutes and be good to go. So yeah, I think that is like finding my rest in there, doing my walks, and then just physically the gym. Like, just, I find working out and training and just doing something different, even though it's still tiring, it's because it's different. Like, it just helps me mentally, physically, everything. Like, so I might still be tired when doing it, but I find it a different kind of tired than when I'm doing the show. It's like, and that just really just helps me if I know that I'm just like, it's a different exertion of energy. Then I feel clearer. My head feels clearer. It's that hour in the gym where you've just like lifted a bit of weights, but just done something for myself rather than for the show or for people around me in the show and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And looking at your social media, for instance, it would be, is it fair to say that you enjoy the gym?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I've been so up and down with the gym over the years. Like when I first came into the industry, the gym was like not massively on my radar, but then I did a show. My very first job was 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
Oof.
And it was such a physical show. Like it was so demanding. And like I was doing at the time, like I'd come straight out of college and I was like, okay, I need to say yes to everything. I need to do everything. And I went into this job like so excited, but then just said yes to too much. And it was like that thing you just said where it's like you sometimes have to learn how far to take it and whatnot. And that job for me was really much like my learning curve of like how much I need to say yes to and do. In terms of like in the show, I was doing about 8 backflips a show. Times that by 8 shows a week, sometimes 9. That was just like destroying my back. And like there was times I ended up having to go off a decent amount because my back would just go into spasm all the time. And that's kind of, and then being on stage with 7 other boys who are like absolutely jacked, like so muscly. And like, because in the show we had to strip off our tops and stuff. And I spent a lot of time, like even one point I was basically naked on stage other than my jockstrap. And I think that consciousness of just, okay, I need to look good. Like I'm next to these guys who are all bigger than me. I need to help myself. So I think that's where it kind of started with that. And then I got to a level after a couple of years where I pushed it too far. And I was like, I've gone so far that I now hate this. And I fully hated it. And I stopped and I just stopped cold turkey, cut it all off. I was like, I don't want to lift C inside a gym ever again. And fully like just cut it off. And I was like, no, I'm done. And just went like the other extreme. And I was just like, well, I was like, not like I've always had decent shape on my body and that sort of thing. Like I've never trained for how I look. I train for how I feel. But I got to a point there where I was just like, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit small. And then I just slowly started like feeding it back in, but more for my mental state rather than physical. I was like, okay, this helps me clear my head. I'm going to start building it up and building it up. And now I've kind of gradually built it back to a level where I'm like, okay, I do it for enjoyment now. If I miss a session, it's not the end of the world. Or if I don't look like how I have looked in the past, that's not the end of the world as well. Like, and I kind of just keep up a consistent basis now of, I'm going to do something to make me feel better, like just for like that, get the endorphins of it. I'm not training to be absolutely huge and massive. I'm training to just feel healthier, you know, and just have that like reset. It's almost like you do like I do a lot of the HIIT classes now, and it's just like going into it, I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? This is going to be hard. But then you come out and you're like, I'm so like glad, like I sweated out that, and it's just that 45 minutes of like clear your head, get out, like do something different. And that's kind of now like where like I love the gym now for that, like mental. And like when people talk to me about like they want to get back into the gym and train, I'm like, well, don't train for what you look like.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't keep it up. Like you're not going to stay consistent if you're just training for what you look like in the mirror or what the scale says. I'm like, train to feel good. Like obviously the looks and stuff come with it. That's part of it, but that shouldn't be your be all, because you're either going to get fed up and give up because it's taking too long, or or that's pretty like you're just not going to enjoy it and be happy, and it's just going to constantly be a chore, and then eventually you'll stop it anyway.
I love that. That's literally what you're saying. The why is more important than your when or your how. If you most people come to fitness because of an abusive relationship with it, like with themselves, because they don't like something about the way they feel or look. And actually that tends to lead them towards using that thing to punish themselves for getting into that position in the first place. So even the classes, like the classes should be hard, the workouts should be difficult, because it has to be difficult, and it's a form of punishment and self-flagellation for that thing, instead of going, right, why do I want to do this? Because I want to be somebody who X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
whatever their goal is, not because I want this level of body fat or whatever outcome.
Yeah, I think, and especially in our industry, so much of it can come from, like, I know for guys, it can be like, okay, to be a leading man, I have to be massive. Whereas actually, you don't always have to be that. You don't, like, sometimes it can help, but it's literally could be anything that why you become a leading man. And I think there is that mentally. I know in a lot of guys, they have that, like, in our industry where they're like, okay, I must get big and muscly in order to get those roles and stuff. And it's so difficult to get to that level of, okay, I'm just doing this for me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for the industry or for anyone else. It's got to be for you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do think that's tricky because, a leading man is an archetype, isn't it? It's simply a two-dimensional box of which it's probably different for most people, but the general consensus is a certain shape, annoyingly. And it's kind of true, like with a classic leading lady and stuff. And thankfully, that those ideas are sort of being demolished
slowly.
here. As you say, a little bit too slowly, perhaps, but they are going. Dear Evan Hansen is not a classic leading man in that sense, and so on. There's a ton of examples, but you're like, okay, maybe it's not about fitting into those narrow lanes anymore. Yeah, but I think maybe, especially when did you finish at Arts Ed? Was it
2013?
13. And like, so just a tiny bit after me, and a bit after you came into the
Why are you throwing these stray punches at me?
Just a little bit.
I get caught in the crossfire.
Just a little bit before that.
Just a little bit before. But like, I feel like when I was training, that was still very much the case.
Oh, it was like, I think like when we started in the gym, like it started in college, it was immediate. They were like, boys get to the gym, boys get to the gym, boys get to the gym. And I agree with that. Like they do need to get to the gym, but it was like, you need to get to the gym to learn how to be in the gym body, and use your body, rather than, I think a lot of it was just get to the gym,
aesthetic.
Get big, get muscly.
100% people don't understand. You're like, it's okay for, I think, drama schools to say, look, you probably need to go to the gym because you need to be stronger.
It's about learning to be strong enough to survive 8 shows a week rather than to get massive.
Yeah, you have to be able to physically lift a partner. You also need to be physically able to create the power enough to turn, to leap, to whatever it is, without injuring yourself with that repetition. It needs to have that resilience, absolutely. But what it isn't is like a teacher telling you that you're too skinny, which is usually the word that was thrown around back then. Yeah. And you're like, well, that can fuck off, can't it? like, no thanks. But there is an element of going, you do need strength and power in order
100%.
to do that. And a certain level of like muscle.
Yeah.
Underneath that.
I think it's so important, and especially for like injuries and that sort of thing. Like last year on Joseph, I had 2 bulging discs in my lower back.
That would do it.
And it like screwed me. And like, it was the gym that actually I was like, okay, how can I fix this then? Like, I wasn't severe enough that I needed surgery, but it was bad enough that it was like constant. I was chugging painkillers like every day.
You were in
like,
a bad way for quite a lot of that
chugging.
time.
But I'm like, my mentality is if I'm not like dead, I'll try and keep pushing on. Like, unless I really have to stop, I'm like, I don't want to be a hero or anything. I'll stop if I need to stop. But like, I knew what my level was, and I knew what the show was, and I knew I could get through it. But then that's where I kind of then started to like look back at the gym and go, okay, how do I change my exercises and what I'm training to fix it?
Yeah.
And that's what I see in a lot of people, like, and a lot of people, they get injured all the time in shows, and then they rest, they go off, and then they come back to the show and they do the exact same thing, and they're off and they're back in the show. And I've done that. That happened to me in my first job, like where with my back in the show, like backflipping all those times, I was resting, like letting it recover, and then coming back to the show, but I wasn't doing anything
to change
because I was young and I didn't know. I was just like, I wasn't doing any exercise to stop that repetition happening. Whereas now, I think I'm a bit maturer now, and I've like gone through that injury where I was just like, no, this is one I need to fix properly, and I need to look at how I work and how I train and my body and what I can do. And now it is a basis of like, okay, I don't get pain if I keep training.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it now. I'm like, okay, that And anytime I stop, I'm like, oh, that pain's coming back again. I go, okay, let's train. I'm like, I've been off it a little while, so I'll get back into the routine of training a little bit more again.
Isn't that a massive shift to notice? Because I remember the moment I worked that out as well, to go, oh, I can manage my body and pain in a way that I can change that. Like I can fix it, but and only when I don't do stuff does it get really bad again.
Come back again.
Like if I don't train my legs, my knees essentially stop working. If I don't go to the gym and do things like squats and deadlifts, my sciatica returns.
Well, that's it. Yeah. My lower back, I have to do deadlifts. If these muscles around my lower back get too like weak, then that's when that starts to like creep in. I'm like,
this is the thing. I think a lot of people, particularly kind of early on when they're coming out of college, they fear things. So they go, oh, I've got some back pain. I should not go to the gym and do any work on my back. There is that inherent fear. And actually, like when you approach it from the right point of view, right angles, like it's a game changer.
Yeah. It's actually like looking at a construction, like a building or a bridge that you've been building and going, oh, there's a weakness there. What am I going to do? Leave it alone and keep letting cars go over the bridge. Like
it'll get better on its own.
It'll fix itself.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Or we'll just not put any cars over it for a while and then just keep putting cars on. And you're like, no.
Let's have a break. Let's go again.
We need to like build around it. Like build more stuff.
That's fully what it was for me. Like on that first job, I was like, I'd be backflipping, back would go into spasm. I'd have a week off, rest. Okay, stop spasming now. Cool, let's go backflipping. Like, and it was just that cycle until eventually I learned. I was like, okay, something. Yeah.
Well, also that's an insane amount of like power production, impact, and in general volume for your.
It's a lot of backflips.
Your body, like
it was a lot.
And there's that thing of going.
It was fun. It was a lot.
That's the thing. They're like in rehearsal. In rehearsal, they're like, "Can you do this?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm going to get to do that in front of people." And then you're like, "Oh, I have to do that in front of people a lot."
Then you're on a rake, and you're like, "Nah, that's a terrible idea."
I had to do it on a rake, backflipping off a table on a rake.
No thanks.
Was there in the tour? Did anyone have to backflip?
I was supposed to, but then I took it out.
Yeah, stopped it.
I got to a point I was doing it, and I knew my back was going bad. It was I could feel something start to go, and my backflips were like
getting
awful.
dodgier.
They were getting dodgier and dodgier. They were like going sideways, not backwards. At like one point. So then eventually it was like, take it out. Then I had MRI scans, found out, okay, cool. Yeah. And then that was it. Literally, I was like, cool, backflips are off my CV. My agent called me last year and they were like, so what tricks can you do? And I was like, get it off my CV. That's the trick.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You start going, actually, I don't want to put myself in that position. Even if you're like, I could. Yeah. You're like, could I do a backflip? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me.
Just because you can. Doesn't mean you should.
Well, that's it. My attitude now is I'm like, there's someone better who can there's someone better and a bit younger that can do that. Like I don't need to be doing that anymore.
And is willing to
do exactly.
That. And that's the thing. In 5 months into the job, you can go, this was your choice.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
Glad you chose to do that.
That was such a rogue backflip in Joseph when it came in. It was such a random. It was so in the middle of a massive routine.
Yeah.
Nobody could really see it.
And it was savage. Even in town, that was savage for the guy doing it because the rake was preposterous.
Nobody's watching you.
Like it's such an unnecessary backflip.
Yeah. And it was because it was on the rake. It was always a bit dodging. In
just like people around you and on the rake.
Way too many people around.
For the first 10 days, you're fine, but also, you're also like filming an EPK and in rehearsals and everything's like, it's not just the show.
At one point, I was like, I've got a pregnant Alexandra Burke walking past me and this backflip ain't going straight.
I'm not risking that.
I'm like watching her. Not like,
what did you do instead?
Just like a really dodgy, like almost like a cartwheel.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I think at one point it was just a box jump.
So you didn't crack out like some b-boy from Hip Hop Cats?
Yeah, I did a handstand head spin.
About those classics.
Yeah.
I kind of would have been up for that.
Yeah. Just little Hip Hop Cats in there. Oh, God. Is there anything about the industry or fitness or wellness that you would like to see get in the bin?
Get in the bin? Ooh. I don't know. I can't think now. Probably that stereotype of like we've spoken about of like the leading man, that stereotypical what you should look like on stage. I think needs to fully get in the bin.
Yeah, I would love to see that get in the bin.
Yeah.
Be gone.
It's in there.
Bye-bye.
We should have like a button to burn the things in the bin.
Jesus. All right.
Just incinerate it.
Yeah. What, you want to have fire in here?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
We've actually got a bin. We've just never
our pyrotechnics budget needs to go up.
A matchbox. Be fine.
Oh, fine. Okay, cool.
We'll have to call off the episode because the fire alarm will go off.
Yeah.
Small. What advice would you have for somebody who is entering the industry now?
Take your time with it. Like, don't let it be all consuming. Theatre's incredible and it's amazing when we've got it, but when you don't have it, you have to have something else to keep you in that same sort of creativity or mental state of joy. So take your time and figure out what else you enjoy or what makes you feel happy or like those sorts of things, and find them so that you can then enjoy a longer career. Like, because I find so many people, they'll do it and it'll be their whole entire world for so long. And then they're like, oh, I've done it now. Now what do I do in life? Or like, if they go through shows and then they have a period where they aren't getting anything or they're getting the rejections and they're like, what, like in the absolute mental breakdown because they've only got that. That's their only be all and end all of everything. I think it's so important to find out what else you enjoy. And it's not to say have a second career or anything like that. It's to just mental, like, so you can go, okay, well, whilst I've not got this, I'm not stopping, but I can do something that gives me enough fulfillment.
Yeah.
Because it can be so hard. Like there's so many times like where you have periods of not getting things. That what are you going to do mentally to stay strong in that time? Like we all have to grind and work and do not, but if you just do those things, you're just going to drive yourself into a state of misery and you're just driving for something that is just constantly rejecting you and rejecting and rejecting you. And I think you'll probably find the more you have outside of the industry of fulfillment, you'll probably come into it and look better in terms of confidence because you go, oh, cool, well, I'm happy outside doing this. I'd love to do this, but it's not the end of the world sort of thing. Yeah. So then it makes you look a little bit more, I guess, confident in that sense of like, and then that's just breeds, doesn't it? Like confidence breeds confidence in people and whatnot. And I think people read that energy off you if you're coming into a room and an audition and stuff and you're happy and content with where you are and elsewhere, you're going to probably look better and probably do better in the audition. You're probably going to perform better because you're much more relaxed. You're not coming into it like, oh, I have to get this job. I've been rejected 10 times or like, this is my dream show. Like, I think, yes, have those dream shows. Of course, like you've got to have them, but if you can find something else that makes you happy as well, and it's not like when people say you need to have a plan B, it's not a plan B. It's just do something else that makes you happy, like anything, be that the gym or sports or swimming or walking or reading or like I always say to my friend whenever he has like a mental, like he's feeling down, I'm like, well, are you reading? Because his thing is reading. And he's like, oh, I've not read for about a month. And I'm like, well,
I wouldn't do it.
Go and pick a book up then and just sit and read. Like, you've consumed yourself in the show.
Yeah.
And you've forgotten what else you enjoy.
Which is part of who you are, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's it. And it's like find things that you enjoy of who you are.
Yeah.
And you'll probably have a longer career and you'll be more willing to stay in it longer because you enjoy it.
It's the same tip for you give people for like staying out of the bubble of the show, isn't it? You go like, remember the things that you love as a person before you started this show. Right, we're going to ask you not to change your facial expression now. We'll look away. Do you think that Sam has managed to tell us a lie, Bobby?
No.
You think no?
I think no. I was toying with one. No, I think no. What do you think?
I think he might have.
Okay.
I think he might have. And it was towards the beginning, and now I'm struggling to remember.
So my only potential guess was the 800 meter.
That was
thing.
it. It was that.
That was the only thing I thought. I know. I thought this feels like it.
It's because he said 800 meter champion for Leicester.
Yeah, I was like, this feels like it could be true, but this could also
could easily
be a
true.
Sneaky lie.
A sneaky drop in. So tell us, Sam, did you manage to tell us a lie?
It was the 800 meter lie.
I haven't got one in so long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did run 800 meters for Leicester.
Oh, we believe
but
that.
I wasn't a champion. I was not a champion. No, I did used to run when I was like 15, 16 for a team called Leicester Coritanians, but definitely not a champion.
We'll take it.
Absolutely. All right, it's time for another game. We're going to play a quick game of this or that. Oh. So it's going to be a 1 minute lightning round a la Friends. Stefan will give you 2 options. You've got to pick one and get through it as quickly as you can. The record so far is 43 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Eggs or bacon?
Bacon.
White bread or brown bread?
White.
The US office or Friends?
US office.
Cardio or resistance training?
Resistance.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Singing or acting?
Acting.
Mabel or People?
Mabel.
Yoga or Pilates?
Yoga.
Family Guy or Love Island?
Family Guy.
Domino's Pizza or Papa John's?
Domino's.
Sport or dance?
Sport.
Alcohol or chocolate?
Alcohol.
Matching socks or mismatching socks?
Matching.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Coca-Cola.
Squats or deadlifts?
Deadlifts.
Game of Thrones or Glee?
Glee.
Books or Kindle?
Kindle.
Clean shaven or beard?
Beard.
Personal chef or personal stylist?
Chef.
Opening night or press night?
Opening.
Sexy or smart?
Sexy.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Hip hop cats or Joseph?
Hip hop cats.
Dogs or babies?
Dogs.
Snakes or badgers?
Snakes.
Theme park or water park?
Water park.
Running or walking?
Running.
Director or choreographer?
Director.
Stefan or Bobby?
Bobby.
48 seconds. Ooh, that's rapid.
That's pretty
that
good.
Is rapid. That's a decent time.
We had a guest that said if we swapped the names round, Stefan and Bobby, that they'd pick me. Now, that was never going to happen in this episode.
I did have the advantage.
In this instance, yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Sorry, obviously that is an ongoing one at the end. And
okay.
It's a battle.
Is it?
And I think it reflects usually in the people that we know best.
Yes, I think that's true. It makes sense. Yeah. It would make sense.
But we'll see. Well, we're not keeping count anymore because it was damaging. It's a weird thing to be competitive about, isn't it? I don't think you were competitive.
No, I don't think you ever were. I was winning.
He was winning. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam. It's been a pleasure.
It was joy.
Awesome.
And thank you at home or wherever you might be for listening or watching.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed this episode, click those like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Instagram at Fit2Perform West End. As always, if you've got any questions you want answered, slide into those DMs. I'll be in there doing backflips.
Thanks again for listening. If you like what you've heard, we've been Fit to Talk with our wonderful guest, Sam Stones, and your hosts, me, Stefan.
And me, Bobby. And if you didn't like it, we've been Joe Wicks. Peace out.